Hello, my name is Dawn Eden Goldstein. I am a canon lawyer and I work on a canonical tribunal. And you're watching episode 1 of what I hope will be a series, Lifting the Veil on Annulments. I should say from the outset that I am speaking personally from my own experience and education as a canon lawyer. That is to say, that I have a licentiate in canon law. A licentiate is the minimum requirement by which someone can call themselves a canon lawyer in the Catholic Church. Somebody can also have a higher degree, namely a doctorate. The licentiate degree has the initials JCL, which is what I have, and the doctorate has the initials JCD. I should say, therefore, that my views are my own and do not reflect the diocese that I work for. Why am I doing this series then? I am doing this series because in my experience on a tribunal, I have learned that one thing that the Catholic Church is unfortunately very good at, that I don't think anyone in the church really wants us to be good at, is that we are really good at making the process for marriage annulments seem opaque. We are very good at giving people the impression that if they have had a marriage that didn't work out and they were civilly divorced and they want to be free to have a new marriage blessed in the church, a new union, I should say, blessed in the church, or if they want to simply have the closure to know that their previous union was not really a marriage, we have people thinking that they just fill out an application and send the application to the diocese, and it's like putting it in a black box. Lots of mysterious things happen. I think people have some idea that a year or 2 years will pass, that somewhere in that time they'll be called in to speak to a judge, probably someone in a clerical collar who's going to ask them uncomfortable, embarrassing, painful questions about their marriage. Maybe they have some idea that their friends, family may be called to give testimony or to submit testimony through forms. And then, somewhere at the end of the line, there is a document saying that their first marriage was null. Hopefully, not necessarily, but that's, the idea that somewhere at the end of the line they get a document that says your marriage or your union was null and now you are free to remarry in the church. So, and I think that sometimes, very often, I'm encountering people who think that their success in gaining a decree of nullity, an annulment for their previous union, people think that it depends upon who they know. Maybe if I go to Mass enough and make a good enough impression on my pastor, maybe if I contact this person in the diocese or that person in the diocese and let them know that I'm donating a lot to the church, or I'm a powerful person, or bada, then that will enable me to get the annulment that I'm seeking. So these are all things that are unfortunate that people believe this. It's unfortunate that people find the annulment process opaque. It's unfortunate that they think that it's about who they know. Because although I can't say that the truth is that the annulment process is perfectly transparent, unfortunately it's not transparent. I can say that it should be transparent, that if the Catholic Church is doing justice the way that the Church's law expects us to do justice, then according to what's written in canon law, the process should be open and transparent while allowing for the appropriate levels of privacy of the parties and those involved in the process. Yet the stages of the process should be transparent. What's expected or required of people petitioning for annulments should be transparent. Those are things that the Catholic Church should be doing a great job of letting everybody know. We should be letting everybody know what are the stages of the nullity process. We should be letting everyone know what's expected of them. Unfortunately, we are not. We are instead doing a great job at opacity rather than transparency. So this series is just one tribunal canonist's effort to try to help people who are applying for the process to obtain a decree of nullity or who are in the process, to help them, to help you to understand so that you'll be better prepared. I also mentioned the myth that gaining a decree of nullity is about who you know. It's about how often you go to Mass, or how much you impress people in the diocese, or about how much money you're giving in the donation box. I can assure you that it is about none of these things. That if you are seeking a decree of nullity, although I can't promise you that everyone in your tribunal is going to be as wonderful as they are at my tribunal and are going to be perfectly professional, what I can tell you is that if you are seeking an annulment, if you know the right things going into it, that is going to be what makes the difference. It is, in fact, what you know. It is not who you know. No matter where you go in the Catholic Church, it is what you know. Not just at my tribunal, but everywhere, whether it's a well-functioning tribunal or a not-so-well-functioning tribunal. The more you know going into the process, the more likely you are to have the outcome that you desire. Just to be clear, there are no guarantees in this process because it is a process of justice based on truth. And so if the truth is that your marriage really was valid, then there is no guarantee whatsoever that you are going to be able to prove that it was invalid and get a decree of nullity. Even if your marriage really was invalid, there's no guarantee that you're going to get the result that you want, at least no guarantee on the first try. Sometimes things go wrong, sometimes an appeal's necessary. I do believe, though, that if you understand the process, then provided that your marriage really was invalid, you have an excellent chance, not a 100% chance, but an excellent chance of eventually gaining the decree of nullity that you're hoping for, and Lord willing, within a reasonable amount of time. So that's what I'm here to help you with, to understand the process so that going into it, you will be equipped as much as possible to be able to assist the tribunal in helping them easily gain the information that they're looking for. So the first thing that I want to say in this episode is really to deflate or dispel the myth that that the invalidity of your marriage is simply evident from the fact that the union that you were in ended in divorce. That is the number one mistake that people make coming into the annulment process. They fill out the application, or as it's properly called, the libellus, and when they're asked what are the grounds on which you believe your marriage was null, they say, well, obviously our marriage was null because we broke up, or because my partner was unfaithful, or because I was unfaithful, or because we grew apart, or because my partner was a jerk, or because I was a jerk, or because this, that thing that went wrong that broke up the marriage. So the thing to know going in is that strictly speaking, the tribunal does not care about what broke up your marriage. Strictly speaking, the tribunal cares about what was wrong going into the marriage. They're looking at what was going on at the time of the vows. Now, certainly the breakup of the marriage has relevance in as much as it might reflect something that was going on at the beginning. For example, if the marriage ended because one partner had a drug or alcohol addiction, if going into the marriage that person had the addiction, that's relevant. Or if going into the marriage the person had certain mental unbalance, certain unaddressed traumas that then led them during the marriage to develop this addiction. Those are things that are relevant for the annulment. But the mere fact that my partner and I divorced because he was an addict or I was an addict, that doesn't interest the tribunal. It comes down to what was going on at the time of the union. In future episodes, provided I continue this, and I hope I do, it depends on the kind of feedback I get, the kind of time that I have, and whether I am permitted to continue doing this, which I have no guarantee that I will be. But in future episodes, what I hope to address are the grounds for nullity, so that you may understand when you're filling out the initial paperwork how to best identify the grounds so that you can make it easier for the tribunal to set the grounds. Now, when you identify the grounds, there's no guarantee that the judicial vicar who is setting the grounds officially, there's no guarantee that the judicial vicar is going to accept the grounds that you're suggesting. The judicial vicar may add some grounds or may just decide that the case is going to progress on different grounds entirely. But speaking generally, you will really help the process. You will really help your case if you do a lot of thinking, a lot of reflecting beforehand, as you're filling out the initial application paperwork. You will really help your case if you do thinking and reflection on identifying the grounds on which you believe your case should be tried. So going forward, if Lord willing I continue this, I will be using as a basis for discussing grounds for nullity the grounds list that is considered the gold standard among grounds lists, which is that which is produced by the Diocese of Madison. The grounds for nullity are the same everywhere according to canon law, but the way that they're listed is uniquely articulated by the Diocese of Madison, Wisconsin. So I'll be putting a link in the comments or in the YouTube description for this video. I'll be putting a link to the Diocese of Madison's list of grounds for nullity. You can also find it easily by doing an online search for Diocese of Madison grounds for nullity. And that's what we'll be discussing in future episodes. So I hope you'll stay tuned, and hopefully, Lord willing, there shall be more episodes to come. Also, please feel free to leave in the comments questions that you'd like to see answered in future episodes. Just know that I cannot promise to answer any question, and that it's up to you to determine how much information, personal information, you wish to put in a question that is being left in a public forum. I apologize that I don't have time due to my working commitments. I don't have time to answer private questions, but if you do leave a question in the comments, I will try to answer it as best I can in a future episode. No promises. Also, I don't have the time to do private canon law at this time. If you're looking for a canonist to help you, all I can do is just advise you find someone with the initials JCL after his or her name and try to get references for that person. And you can also go to the directory on the Canon Law Society of America website to find a canonist. And that website is clsa.org. I'll try to remember to put that in that URL in the YouTube description as well. So thank you. I pray for all my viewers. Please pray for me and hope to see you again. God bless you.